Boom. Thursday coming at you. All right, what are we doing? Making the case, episode 11. What's... Stop.
You practicing?
No, I'm not practicing. We're on live. Making the case, episode 11. 11 in heaven. Episode 11. I think we're on episode 11. Okay. What's going on, cousins and kin folks? Welcome to Making the Case. We're doing it on Thursday. We're making a special accommodations. Nevertheless, thank you guys so much for joining us as our room continues to fill up. I want you guys also to use this as a space to give us your testimony. So let me know what's one good thing that's going for you throughout this week. I've heard so many great things in the DMs, in the chats, in the text messages, in the calls. I want to go ahead and send a lot of positive vibes out there to everybody out there on their lawyer journey. Again, for you guys who are joining us for the first time, my name is Anthony. I'm the founder of Becoming JD, where our mission, our goal, of course, is to help you guys manifest those lawyer dreams. Because, again, my goal, my purpose, again, I believe that I don't give a damn what your LSAT score is, what your GPA is. I believe that there is a law school there for you. We've been able to prove it. We've had guests on who've proved it. And, of course, it's to help you guys also go ahead and prove it, too. So what's going on, Miss Never Share? What's going on, Stephen Joy? With Sid the Kid? As our room fills up, I want you guys to let us know where it is that you're viewing our session from. All right. I'm, of course, holding it down here in Missouri. Let us know where you're viewing our session from, okay? We know it's been a long week. We know, of course, you guys is trying to fight and grind. For my 1Ls out there, keep fighting. I know you guys see the finish line, thinking about finals, midterms, and things of that nature. We got Indiana in the house. We got Penn State in the house. We got, of course, a lot of people in the house. So let us know where it is that you're viewing our session from. One of the things, of course, we like to do on our Making the Case shows, of course, is make sure that this is a space, a platform for you guys also to get questions answered regardless of where you are in your journey, okay? So that way you're able to make sure that you're coming away fed. I know a lot of people had questions about the JD Next. I've had a fortunate opportunity to speak to a lot of people who are doing the JD Next right now. So we want to ask questions about that. I have people doing Access Lex. You got questions? Shoot them in the chat, because I want to make sure that you guys are coming away fed with clear answers in regards to wherever you are in your journey. Okay, so where you guys watching our session from? We got Austin, Texas in the house. We got North Carolina in the house. We got Illinois holding it down. What's going on, sis? Who else we got? We got Springfield. Oh, we got two folks in Illinois holding it down. Okay. We got DMV in the building. Awesome. We got Richmond. I love it. What's going on, sis? We got Georgia, always on my mind, in the house. So, of course, on this session today, you guys, we're going to be talking, our first collaboration, actually. We're going to be talking with BLSA. You guys hear about BLSA. You guys have heard about BLSA from afar. But this gives you an opportunity to really talk to BLSA and get some sensitive answers, get some real good questions answered. Because when we think about BLSA, for those who do not know, it means Black Law Student Association. We oftentimes think it's something that's limited just to law students, but there is a pre-law division, and they also offer a lot of scholarships. They offer a lot of opportunities. And Chris, and to all my folks out there, my cousin and kin folks out there, we, of course, are looking for ways for us to be able to ensure that we're going to get bags and scholarships. We ain't settling for loans. And so this is going to give you guys an opportunity to talk to one of the representatives from the pre-law BLSA division in the Mid-Atlantic region and find out, to get some questions answered, to find out how they are navigating their journey, and also if you guys be able to find out about resources that could help you in regards to navigating your journey. I try to fill my stories up, you guys, with a lot of different opportunities for you guys to check out and make sure that you capitalize. To my folks down there in H-Town, down in Texas, I want you guys to save the date, because there is a public law school, neighborhood law school event that's going to be going on within like 35-minute drive of Houston, Texas. I'm going to be posting that story, so I want you guys to go. I want you guys to understand that if we say that we want to be lawyers, Tony, if we say that we want to be a lawyer, Shelly, then we have to make sure that we're doing things to demonstrate that, right? And so I know that you guys are juggling a lot. Could be juggling school, work, family, life, and pandemics, COVID, everything else. But also realize that when you're juggling a lot of things, Tony, those are also wonderful opportunities for you to be able to demonstrate your commitment and also your interest in standing out and trying to become a lawyer. Because that's how we're able to stand out, is when we're finding ways and finding opportunities to be able to do so things. So that Saturday that I may spend normally watching football or watching Coach Prime, there may be a time that I may spend going to do some volunteer work to try to add to my law school resume and also build meaningful relationships and networks, okay? And it's called the People's Law School. They're going to be having an event near Houston, Texas. You literally go into Google, type in law school, and you're going to find out more information about the event. I already know my real troopers out there who are interested in going to law school and looking for every opportunity to try to network and connect are going to be there. And so I want to make sure that you're there as well, okay? So as our room continues to fill up, let us know where you're viewing our session from. What's going on, Real Sydney? What's going on, Diamond in the Rough? Diamond in the Rough. I want you guys to let me know where you're viewing our session from. I also want to be able to know what are some things that you're going through during your journey right now, because I always want to make myself available to answer those questions. Jersey in the house. What's going on, Rutgers? And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to get our Mid-Atlantic representative from the Pre-Law Society on the line. He's a law student. And we want to make sure you get some questions answered for you guys, those who want to go to law school, those who want to see themselves manifesting their lawyer dreams. Again, remember, this space is for you. I don't want you to just be a person who's going to be a viewer. My wife says it all the time. We don't want you to just be a consumer. We want you to be a person that's coming to get answers. My girl Diamond, of course, she got her answers. We posted about her earlier this week. She got her answers. She went and took the reel that we made about getting volunteer opportunities, and she flipped it and turned it and got a job. So don't just consume the content. Make sure you guys are using this content to also help better your lives and also better your chances of getting into law school, okay? Because all of this is done is to be able to help you take the next step in your journey. You please go look in the reel and go look at the most recent post. I gave you guys a template to use for the request your letters of recommendation. I gave you guys a template also to request your waivers, okay? So utilize these tools to help you take those next steps. I don't want anybody that's, if you viewing this chat, you should never, ever pay for another law school fee again. Ever. We gave you the waiver. We showed you how to do it. Most of my students save between $400 and $500 on app fees because they're using the template that I just gave you guys. So I want you guys to utilize these tools and make sure that we're not just consuming it, but we're also utilizing it to make and take steps towards manifesting our lawyer dreams. I know my girl Lawyer Loda's going to be doing it because she be on her ish. Am I right, sis? We know Shelly CJ going to do it because we know that we're about manifesting these dreams and taking the next steps, right? Because we're not just about donating, you guys. We're also in the process of trying to get into law school. You get what I'm saying, Miami Style Soldier? You feel what I'm saying? If you feel what I'm saying, raise your hands up in the chat because, of course, this is all about helping you guys along your journey. We know that we had some students that had a fire time at the law school fair that they held down in Miami last week. And so we want to make sure that you guys are being prepared for every step in your journey. For those who just took the LSAT, I'm sending prayers and positive vibes your way, okay? So make sure you fill our chat box up with questions wherever you are in the journey because we want to make sure that you know what you need to know. If you know, you know, right? So we're going to go ahead and see about getting our guy on from Pre-Law BOSA to get him on so we can go ahead and get us some questions answers because, again, this space is designed for you to get answers. And everybody in this chat box, I'm sure you guys are familiar with BOSA, have an idea what BOSA does, but may not be very clear in regards to what BOSA can do to be able to help you on your journey. All right, because BOSA is something that can not only just help you while you're in law school, they're also dropping a lot of amazing resources that could be able to help you in regards to while you're on your journey to becoming an attorney. You see that? Like that, right? All right, what's going on, man? We see Truly Blessed in the house, the trademarkpreneur in the house. So, again, we're very excited about this opportunity, and we're going to go ahead and get our guest for today in so we can go ahead and get this information from our man Paris. All right, let's go ahead and get him on the line. Law asking questions, so that is good. All right, so again, don't be shy. Fill this chat box up with questions. I just sent our guys should be joining us now. All right, what's going on, man? How's everything going, Paris?
Hey, what's going on? Brother, how you?
Hey, man, I'm all about helping these folks get into law school because I know one of the things that's amazing, and I think we talked about it before, is everybody knows BALSA. They have an idea of BALSA, but there's so many layers to what BALSA is and what it can do to help even people who are pre-law students. And so I want to give you the floor to educate these people, put them on game so they can be able to access and utilize these amazing resources that are literally a DM away from them.
Absolutely. And I'm not sure if it's just my end. I can't see you from my end. Did I do something wrong?
Oh, you can't? Oh, no. I'm here. Can y'all see me? Can y'all not see me in the chat? Oh, they just asking questions. We got more questions in the chat. But we'll go ahead. I see somebody said they can't see me. I don't know. But go ahead and let's go ahead and just make it roll. You know, Instagram is going to be Instagramming, and we still going to get this content out. So, he said, so Legally Pretty Shell says she sees me. All right, you see both of us? Do you see me? I see you. Okay. All right. We see each other. We
Oh
see
well,
each other.
I'm not sure what's happening on my end, but as long as it's working, we can keep it moving.
All right, fantastic. So, of course, introduce yourself, my fam, and let them know what you're doing and how you making all these moves.
Oh man, my name is Paris Holmes. I'm a fourth year evening student at University of Baltimore School of Law. By way of my undergraduate institution, Coppin State University. Interestingly enough, I got into UB through a pipeline program that UB has
Right.
with all the Maryland HBCUs. So if you're either student or alum of Coppin, Morgan, Bowie, UMES, the four HBCUs in Maryland, we have a Fannie Angeles program that's literally if you have a certain GPA and get a certain LSAT score, they will literally offer you a full ride to law school. So long story short, I had a mentor who went through the program, connected me to it when I got to Coppin. Literally just a freshman, and I kind of sat under her wing. She introduced me to the folks who organized the program, and despite some trouble along the way trying to get past the LSAT and get the score I needed to get in and get my seat, my full ride, I made it eventually after four very hard attempts trying to get the LSAT out of the way. So that's a little about me and my background. Personally, I'm from Baltimore, born and raised, so it's really full circle moment to be in my city, be at a law school in my city, and now be a guest on this platform, which I've been following since I probably was like a sophomore or freshman in college, just trying to get motivation, trying to get tips on how to get into law school and keep my foot on the gas until I eventually got there. And now here I am as a law student at UB, former chapter president of BALSA at University of Baltimore Law School. And now I'm on the regional level serving as a pre-law director, which is me to get to law school through Fannie Angelos and also through, following this platform, the National Black Pre-Law Conference, just a number of folks who helped me along the way as mentors and resources. I can't thank any of those people enough, so that's why I find it important to give back and do the same thing for people coming behind.
All right, and again, for you guys who just joined us with my man Paris, my man's doing this thing at Baltimore Law School. I want you guys to be able to understand the level of resources that he just dropped, right? So he talked about, and actually I just saw this on Google. I saw this alert. If, in fact, you are attending one of the HBCUs in the DMV area, you may be able to qualify for a full scholarship if you're able to meet certain standards. So make sure, if, in fact, that is you, hit my man up, Paris. Paris, tell them what your IG is so they can reach out to you to get more details about that program.
Awesome. So you guys can reach me on this platform. I check it frequently. I'm also going to drop. I'm going to try to type my personal Instagram inside the chat. Okay, there it is. And shout out to Aisha, I think that is.
Yeah.
Who's a current Fannie Angelos scholar. We got to connect.
All right. You heard that, Aisha? Aisha, you sent an invitation, so make it happen, sis. And so the other thing that's also amazing, one of the things he talked about, there's different pathways to law school. And oftentimes we think that the only pathway is directly there. And so if you could briefly, I know we're going to talk about a lot of different things, but there may be people out there who may not be as familiar with what a pipeline program is or how to even connect with one. because there's so many different avenues. You got Clio, you got
Yeah.
Trio, and then of course you have different states that offer different programs like the Fannie Angelo Scholars Program. So you could tell them a little bit about the pipeline program that you got connected with, and how they could be able to find ways to get connected with pipeline programs as well.
For sure. So, like I said, the one here in Maryland, I guess I should say, is UB funneling HBCU students into our program at University of Baltimore. I remember coming across a similar program, I think, that was, and this is a long time ago, I have to look at it. I want to say it was Wayne Law School in Detroit that had a similar program where they were trying to find folks who were, I can't remember if it was from HBCUs or from like low-income backgrounds that had a similar program that I looked at and thought about applying to way back when, before I started at UB. But yeah, those programs are designed at trying to help, literally targeting folks who, have historically been locked out of this process that is law school, and this opportunity that is law school, and making sure that we get our foot in the door. And I think that's just really important work to be doing for folks who look like us to get into law school and have our perspective heard, and to be in the profession and increase that 5% that we talk about so often.
Right. And some other opportunities you guys may want to look out for, and you guys should also type in the chat for it, is CUNY Law has a fantastic pipeline program. In addition to that, other pipeline program that I want you guys to look into is a program called Clio. Clio is a program that everybody and their mama at some point that you've seen on the news as a person of color, they somehow been touched by the Clio program. And I'm sure even you know about the Clio program. The Clio program.
Yeah, I will plug Clio heavily. I'm actually trying to work with doing something with them and partner, because they're not too far from us. A few weekends ago, I was at the National HBCU Pre-Law Summit in DC, and finally met Ms. Savellos, who does great work at Clio, in person. And it's crazy because I had been emailing her back and forth for a long time since I started law school and before law school. I did Clio's Attitude is Essentials program, where they pretty much do like a 1 week boot camp for 0Ls or 1L students about to start their 1L year. They also have a lot of scholarship opportunities. And like they just do a lot of amazing where they have all types of ways for you to get involved and to help you, basically.
Right. And literally, it's $3.99. So, of course, not during this live, but another time, you guys go and look at Clio Inc. I think on their Instagram, they have a Clio Inc. And they may not have generate a lot of traffic on Instagram, but it's a powerful program that's really impacted the lives of so many people. I can almost guarantee you, any lawyer that you've seen on any type of platform has some way been touched by Clio. And they've been doing it since 1964. I know I participated in the Clio program. They have a pipeline program where you're actually able to attend different functions and actually prove it. Like they have a prove it program, and oftentimes it alternates from different campuses where you're able to attend. And if in fact you qualify and you're able to do well in the success program, then they'll get you automatic admission into law school. So these are things that oftentimes that you either don't know, and I just want to make sure that you guys are informed. And so let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the pre-law BALSA division and what you guys' mission are. And for those folks out here trying to go to law school, how it could be helpful to them.
Yeah. So essentially BALSA in a nutshell, well, how kind of, I guess, explain the overview of how BALSA works. So we have the National Black Law Student Association, which we are actually the largest 501c3 run exclusively by law students. So every single officer you see who's sort of mobilizing on the ground for BALSA at the national level or regional level, they're all law students. And so, of course, we're a large nonprofit, and we have, of course, chapters throughout not even just the country, but even in different countries as well. We've got BALSA Canada. So our footprint is pretty large and wide, and our whole mission is based on making sure that Black folks and minority folks have access to law school. So that's, again, starting in the pre-law division, getting into law school, first of all, and even once you get into law school, supporting you on your 1L year, which you know is the toughest year. And then so you succeed academically, in that 1L year, 2L year, 3L year, and once, of course, you leave law school, you got to make sure we get you a great job and get to connect with other people people look like you basically in the profession. And I would always say when I was at the president, honestly, the most important thing that I think BOSA does is sort of ask for one thing in return, and that is that you pay it forward to somebody else.
Absolutely. And one of the things that, and the thing I tell people about it is that, you know, because there's so few representation of students and even lawyers, we kind of oftentimes become our own little community where we look out for each other. And one of the things oftentimes I know for a lot of aspiring lawyers out there, you guys oftentimes are fearful, scared. You think that, oh my God, if I reach out to them, what are they going to think of me? What are they going to say to me? I want you guys to be able to understand that every lawyer, every law student was literally in your shoes before, trying to figure it out. Am I right there? Trying to figure out how to navigate this space. And the thing that's very fortunate about it is for a lot of us, we were trying to navigate it on our own, blind, guessing along the way. But with those resources and knowledge that we gained, it gives us an opportunity to be able to help you guys out. And one of the things I oftentimes tell people, I said, there used to be a time, Paris, where, you know, your access to resources was limited. The door was closed in your face. But now we're in a space now where literally it comes down to, what do I want to look at when I go through Instagram? Do I want to look at shoes, bundles, or reels, or do I want to try to find and utilize it as a platform to try to network and meet different lawyers, meet different law firms, connect with different organizations, and make sure that I'm doing things that's not only going to be something that's going to make me laugh or make me happy, but also is going to help me in regards to taking steps towards my dream of becoming a lawyer. Because this is a wonderful platform that we've been able to utilize to not only educate you guys, but also want you to utilize it for you guys to elevate and take those next steps. We've gotten people who've gotten judgeships, clerkships, volunteer opportunities just by utilizing this platform. And so what bit of advice would you have for someone who's applying to law school, who is trying to find schools? Because one of the biggest challenges, like, there's 197 schools. How did you find Baltimore Law? And what advice do you give to somebody who's trying to figure out how to find a school to go to?
For sure. Honestly, Baltimore Law kind of found me, and honestly, I'm very grateful for that chance, because I had no idea that. And I guess to give a little bit of background, being from Baltimore, I had every intention to go to college out of state, because I just wanted to get a chance to see the world, I guess, in a different state other than Maryland and the city of Baltimore. And, you know, it didn't work out that way because it was very expensive. So I ended up staying here at home and going to Coppin, which is in West Baltimore. I grew up in East Baltimore, so 20 minutes away. I still have to say, had I gone anywhere else, I wouldn't have known about Fannie Angelos and the opportunity at UB. So I'm grateful for that. But even when I was considering going to other law schools, I definitely still, you know, sort of weighed my options, even with the opportunity or the offer of like getting a full ride from UB in front of me. I remember, like, honestly using, I think, LSAC, of course, the LSAT website, had was what your LSAT score was if you at least taken one attempt at the LSAT. And you could literally filter and figure out which schools were more likely to admit you based on where you stood at the moment. And, of course, you could always adjust that if you were planning to retake the LSAT. You could adjust it based on like what you think your next score might be based on what your practice scores are maybe. So that was one tool I definitely used a lot, just trying to figure out, you know, where do I fit in? Because honestly, I wanted to go to law school really badly. I had some ideal schools in mind. So I think that using that platform, one, to know where's my best chance at, and then being able to sort of make a list from that. And then after I had that filtered list, I would filter it more by looking into the school itself and saying, okay, do they offer what I'm looking for? How far is this? You know what I mean? Like, how much money is it going to cost me? Like, all those questions that you, of course, take into consideration when you're applying to different law schools. So yeah, I definitely think that tool, if it's still available, I'm sure it is a great one. Trying to think about what else. Also, networking with folks at these events I just mentioned. I don't know why, but I decided to use a buddy pass and get on a plane to fly down to Houston my like freshman year of college. Me and my friend who were so adamant about going to law school, and I went to the National Black Pre-Law Conference, and I met a lot of people there were able to connect me, and I, then started considering schools in Houston because I had connections down there. Again, ironically, were also BOSA students. And I think one of the students who we met ended up giving us an entire like series of LSAT books that she wasn't using anymore because she just got admitted to law school. So all those platforms, filtering it down on LSEC, like I mentioned, and finding opportunities, like I said, the National Black Pre-Law Conference, which Miss Evangeline Mitchell puts on, does a great job, as well as the HBC Pre-Law Summit, which she also organizes. Those are great opportunities to meet folks who are in a similar position as you, as well as attorneys and law students who literally just want to get back. They want to help somebody else because they know how hard it was when they were in that position.
Absolutely. Again, you guys, for those who just joined me, we're on the line with Paris. My man is holding it down in Balsa and also doing his dang thing, also about to graduate from Baltimore School of Law. Now, what we're talking about today is talking about how do we find schools, and let's be honest, you guys, it's easy to say all you need is one yes, but you got to find one.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, we have to be able to look at the different categories of what we're going to look for. And so I just put in the chat box a website that actually is sponsored by the Law School Admissions Council that a lot of you guys may not be as familiar with. It's called lawschooltransparency.com. On lawschooltransparency.com, it allows you literally to be able to compare schools and also find information such as graduation rates, acceptance rates, bar passage rates, diversity of staff, all that type of stuff that you need to be able to make that decision. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, I tell people, if we do not get into law schools, it's not because of our scores, it's because we failed to find a school that will accept us. Because there's schools out there. There's schools out there that will give opportunities to people with 2.3s. There's schools out there that give people with LSAT scores as low as 129s. But the question is, are you willing to do what it takes to find those schools? Okay? And it was very fortunate for Paris, man. It just opened up. Like, yo, Bob B-boy, yo, come on. And that's a blessing. But also, talk about, like, for example, when you got there, though. Because I know I had some students earlier today who talked about finding that fit. How did you know that Baltimore Law was a good fit? Because a lot of people don't know what it looks like to say, okay, bet this is going to work. And a lot of people end up having in a bad situation because they chose it about rankings, tiers, and not about fit.
It's funny because I think that's a great segue as from the last question. Because I was thinking about it, and I wanted to expound more on like the relationship piece. And I think that going back to the last question, the benefit of going to these types of pre-law fairs, pre-law conventions and whatnot, is you meet people and you have a face to the school. So if you meet someone who's an alum of University of Baltimore, if you meet someone who's an alum of Maryland Carey Law School or Howard Law School, etc., I think that kind of gives you a better idea of what to expect when you get to law school. You have someone you can sort of actually ask questions to that has insight on what the experience looked like. And I think that's honestly another reason why I ended up at UB because, obviously the full ride was a great incentive. But also, again, I had mentors who were already there in the program who could tell me exactly how to navigate what UB was like. And that includes, the good things, but the bad and the ugly also. So I didn't walk into UB sort of unaware of things that I was, going to experience. Even some of the things that aren't so great about UB. And I feel like I can be candid and say that, every school has its advantages and disadvantages in terms of the experiences you're going to have. So to answer the question directly, I think it boils down to I knew it was a good fit because I knew people who were there, and I had a community that I could walk into, and I didn't feel isolated or anything like that. And I think the same can be done at any program. Like if you meet the local BALSA folks at some of the law schools that you're planning to apply to, whether it's virtually or if you're in that same town, you can meet them in person. I think they will give you a great they'll give you the tea, basically. To put it simple, they'll tell you what it's really like to be there. And of course, that I think makes it easier to even make a visit if you want to go check out the campus and sort of see for yourself. Somebody who might be able to ask the professor if they can bring you in for a class to shadow and see what it's like to sit in a law school class in that particular law school. And and whether it's also students or even staff members, folks who work in admissions. I'll never forget, even before I started UB, there was a guy I met at a pre-law fair from Penn State who me and my friend who I went with was literally begging us to follow up by email because he was going to do whatever he could to help us to get into Penn State if that's where we wanted to go. So meeting folks like that, as far as meeting folks like that, in addition to my relationships with my mentors at UB, I think that's a perfect pathway into it and knowing what to expect. Because you have people who can tell you the truth.
And the thing that's amazing about what he's talking about, you guys, you may say to yourself, because I know a lot of times we put barriers when we talk. Well, I don't know. I'm a first gen. I don't know any lawyers.
Yeah.
I'm not a part of a frat where there may be lawyers. I'm not part of sorority where there may be lawyers. But again, what I tell people, I say, but then it's all about us being able to utilize our opportunities. One of the things I jokingly but seriously said is that, how much is it? And I asked them before, Paris, how much it costs to go to court? It's free.
You can do
$3.99, right?
And walk in, yeah.
$3.99, you guys. And I've had people this week who I work with who've been able to go to court for $3.99 and walk out with business cards, opportunities, and networking opportunities. Now, and I tell people, I said, but so it's all about what you want to do. Am I right? You feel me, Greg? You feel me, Tamika? It's all about what you want out of it. We are in a situation now, like I could go through Reels, I could go see what Sexy Red is doing, I could go see what Christian Rock is doing, or I could try to check out and see, what this law firm is doing. Or I could, I could go and roll through and see, what's going on in this particular business, on World Star, on Shade Room, or I could spend this time to try to see if I could network. Oh, let me go find that lawyer and send a message to see what's good. And so I want us to be able to utilize this. A lot of times we're facing barriers because we're nervous and we're scared. What's the worst thing that can happen? Let's keep it a buck, Paris. We get a lot of messages every day that we don't respond to. And so if we can be able to live in that space and be comfortable in that, I want you guys to understand, all I need is one person to say yes. We had someone on last week, Paris, and she talked about how she would use LinkedIn. And she sent messages, hey, I see you're a lawyer, I see you're doing your thing. I love an opportunity to network, volunteer, first-gen, aspiring lawyer. She sent it out to 16 different people. If I get 3 responses, it's a win. If I get 1 response, it's a freaking win. And it can open up so many different doors for you, because I think for you what was amazing, what I want for everybody, is for us to be able to have that support system, to have that security blanket, to know that I have reliable sources of people who could reach out to me and tell me the truth, and also want to look out for my well-being. And that's the security that you got when you went to Baltimore that gave you that support that you needed. And I just want everybody to realize that same support is something that you can get. And I hope here in this space and this platform, Becoming JD, we try to provide that to you guys, and also let you guys realize that our guests, they are part of the family now too. Yeah. And they're here to be able to help you. I don't want you guys to be struggling along. I want you, like we had someone in the chat just now, Paris, who talked about the trademarkpreneur, talked about going to the route of going to Purdue and doing a Purdue program for law school and only having to pay $13,000. And so we want to make this a space for $13,000, bro. That's I wish. You know what I mean? And so I want you guys to look. We're all here, community, to help each other out. What's going on, Nikita? And so I also want you to take some time as well to, what words of it, like, for example, when things got tough, man, and let's go back and be serious for a moment, man. Take you back in the time machine. Because a lot of times people think, oh, he's about to graduate. The LSAT was easy for him. He didn't have no stress. Take him back in the time machine and tell him, like, what did you do to cope with those stressors? Because, I hate to say it, Nikita, you can agree, man, this LSAT be stripping us of our confidence. And it's a lot of people out there right now that are on the verge of quitting because they think that this LSAT means that they can't do it. Yeah. And I want to know how you dealt with that, because it's just people right now who need to know that, one, their struggle that they're going through is okay, because we all been there. Every lawyer's been there. But they don't make it better. But also knowing how you manage that stress and what did you do to finally figure it out. Yeah.
I'll start by saying I didn't need. I kind of joke about this all the time. I didn't need glasses or a therapist until I started preparing for law school, and that was before I even got my foot in. This starts like literally at LSAT journey, and even as much as I appreciate the financials program and like them offering the full ride, the thing is, you still got to do your part, right? So I still had to get the LSAT score. And what ended up happening was it was my senior year of college when I was in the program, because a part of the program is to get the LSAT score. You also tell you basically you also have to take an LSAT prep course that they sponsor through Princeton Review. And you take the June LSAT. I'm not sure when the LSAT is administered now, but it used to be only like 4 times a year. But we took the June LSAT, and if you know anything about the June LSAT, at least then, law schools would usually stop their admissions process around March, unless you had schools like UB, for example, where they had a rolling admissions process, which essentially means if they're offering you a full ride, contingent upon your LSAT score, and you're going to take the LSAT in June, that means at that point you have no choice but to go to UB at this point, or other law schools that might have rolling admissions, because you're waiting on the LSAT score from June to come back. Sorry, that's like a car going off in my background. You're
Oh, it's
waiting on
fine.
the LSAT score to come back, and law school's literally going to start in August, so you have like short turnaround time. And what happened for me is, because I waited to my senior year to take the LSAT, I did not get the score I needed to get a full ride, and the UB was a 152 at the time. So you get a 152 in the LSAT to secure your full ride. The good thing is they give you other chances to do it. So even if you don't get it on the first try, they allow you to retake it. I did not get it on my first try. So my cohort members, and it was 8 of us from different HBCUs in Maryland. Um, I think one of my cohort members got it. I didn't, so I retook the LSAT. I think again. I graduated college in 2018, so the first time I took it was June 2018. Did not get the score. Not going to do. I think I got like a 146, 6 point shy. And at this point, I'm like, okay, you know what? That's not too bad. I can still retake
Yeah.
it. My confidence was definitely hurt, because it was a very humbling experience. I'm used to, again, I was a 3.5 GPA student. I was on the dean's list, stuff like that. I'm like, wow, this is a punch to the gut.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Like, we got people in the chat saying, my girl Lawyer Loden said, the LSAT is the devil. I'll
yeah,
fight whoever created it.
no,
Dakita
really.
said, you ain't lying. Beth Love said, the LSAT is stressing me out. So you definitely hitting the core, bro.
Yeah. So I got a punch to the gut the first try. Didn't get the score I wanted. And I was, well, maybe I'll do something different. I've already taken a prep course at this point. I know the concepts and stuff, so I can self-study, and I'll get myself the rest of the way there. So I think and also, I'll talk a little bit about this year, because I'm not sure where my mind was at senior year, but I was so focused on going to law school, honestly, that I did what I don't think was wise for any senior in college to do, which was I didn't even apply to any jobs as like a safety net after graduating from undergrad. I just was like, I'm gonna take the LSAT in June. Mind you, I graduated in like, I guess, mid-May or something like that. Like a day before my birthday, because my birthday is in late May or mid-May, and celebrated graduation barely, and then took the LSAT 3 weeks later. Like, I was just so locked
Yeah.
in and so consumed by law school, and thinking that all my value and worth was
Yeah.
tied into whether or not I got admitted to law school, that I wouldn't even think about myself at that point. I didn't have my best interest at heart, that you can at least apply for some jobs after graduation. And I didn't do that until after I took the LSAT, because that's how, again, invested I was. Started applying to jobs, got the score back, didn't get the score I wanted, tried to sort of pump myself back up, which leads me to okay, I'm going to self-study and take it again. I think I took it again in January of the following year, 2019. Didn't get the score again. At this point, I'm like working, and like balancing this is
Yeah.
much harder than it was. Now, not only it's not like I'm just going to class
Right.
and that's my only responsibility. I'm like working full time and trying to make time to go to the library and study for the LSAT after I get off of work. And I already worked 8 hours, and it's much more exhausting.
Yeah.
And this is where the pressure really starts to come on because it's a different beast. You know what I mean? Like when you don't have the same downtime and sort of convenient schedule as you do as a college student. So, and again, um, attempt two still got like a 147 or something like that. Didn't really go up much. Um, and took it again, I think. I forgot when I took the next attempt, but I took it a third time, and at this point, I just was like, you know what? This is where I really start utilizing the LSAC website and figuring out what schools I can get into, and where am I? Because I'm like, my GPA is decent enough.
Mm-hmm.
The LSAT is really kicking my butt. At this point, I literally just given up. I said, you know what? I took it 3 times. I'm not doing this no more. Literally,
Yeah.
it's like I'm just gonna start applying. Like I know at least one law school will admit me.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah. So I started applying to schools. UB was at the top of my list. And I remember talking to one of the coordinators at the financial program at UB and telling her, listen, you guys are going to see my app. I don't care if I don't get a 152. You guys are going to give me the full ride. I'll just apply and I'll figure it out on my own, basically. I like screw the money. I just want to get into law school. Again, a reflection of me being consumed and tying my entire value and worth into being a law student, basically, which I think is something we really got to talk about in our community. Is you know, whether you get in or not, even when you're in the process, when you're working your butt off and grinding to get in, it doesn't make you any less intelligent or capable because you haven't gotten that score yet, or because you haven't gotten admitted or gotten an admissions letter yet. Like it's a tedious process. It's hardcore, but you are no less intelligent or less capable or valuable because you haven't gotten there yet. It's just a process. It's simply just that.
Right.
Everything in life has some process to it, and the whole thing of a process is it's one step after another. And just because you might be between step one and step two, that doesn't mean that the journey or that you in your journey is in vain, basically. So going back to attempt three and being frustrated and the whole, literally, I just given up at that point.
Yeah.
And I allowed Miss Giles, who's the coordinator of our program at UB, to talk me into taking the test one more time. And how she got me to do that, I have no idea. And this is in like March of 2019, I think. No, I take that back. It was like February of 2020 at this point. Yes, it was February 2020. Because I think that's what happened. I took the June LSAT 2018 after college, didn't get the score. Self-studied, took it again in January. Took the June LSAT again in 2019, and I retook the prep course, which was, I went through the whole thing again. And so at this point, I'm like, you know what? I don't care if I don't got the score. I'm going to apply anyway. Here we are, February 2020, a month before, of course, the global pandemic. I'm in the office, the admissions office, telling them, listen, I don't care about that school no more. Screw the LSAT. I'm applying. And she begged me to take it anyway. I'm like, I left the office like I don't really want to, but for you, I will. Long story short, applying. I ended up applying to take another LSAT, which I think would have been in like March or something, the end of March, I think. And of course, by the time that conversation ended in like late February, 2 weeks later, the entire world got shut down.
Right.
So the LSAT I was scheduled to take at the end of March got postponed to like the end of April or May, I think, or something like that. And they changed the entire platform of the LSAT, which made it virtual. And so this is how I know God works in mysterious ways, is that because they changed the format of the LSAT, it took one section off and ended up taking the virtual LSAT from home. And everything was crazy. Like my fire alarm went off in the middle, like before my LSAT started. It was crazy. So long story short, I took the LSAT again, and I don't know if it was like April or May of 2020, virtually, and was like, you know what? Whatever happens, happens. Somewhere that like July, I got an acceptance letter from UB. But this is before I got the LSAT score back. So I'm like, well, I'm admitted, but
It's free.
time to go, time to go hit up, Sally Mae and figure out how we gonna pay for it all. And I kid y'all not, 2 days after, literally about 2 or 3 days after I got my admissions letter from UB, I got my LSAT scores back, and I had gotten 1 point above what I needed to get the full ride.
Wow.
And like, that is nothing but God. Like, I can't take any credit for that. I mean, I guess I did put in some work for it, but there's no way I could have arranged for it to happen that way. So going back to the initial point, when people talk about, these assumptions that come with, being at the end of your law school journey almost and about to graduate, and thinking that, maybe it was a piece of cake. It was not at all. Like, I took the LSAT 4 times, taking the LSAT prep course twice, was working full time in between my LSATs. And it was rough. Like, it was definitely rough. I was still, actually, I didn't even start driving. I didn't get a car until 2019. So, the end of 2019 at that. So for those first 2 years, from the time I graduated college into the end of 2019, I literally was catching the bus from work to like Coppin, my old undergrad, and asking the guy who I know from, I was very involved on campus at Coppin, SJ president, stuff like that. So I was just asking people who I knew to just let me in the library, let me have a student ID at that point because I graduated. So I'm just literally just hustling, like leaving work, getting on the subway, the bus to get from South Baltimore, where I worked at, all the way up to West Baltimore to go to the library, and I would stay in the library and get there probably around like 6 or something and stay there until like 9, 10 at night. I guess I say sometimes pretending to study because sometimes I was in there trying to study and saying I was studying. Really, I was, head in the cubicle, trying to stay awake, on my phone, distracted, at all those times. I'm just like, you're not really serious about this. It's like this voice in your head that makes you feel like every moment that you're not, sitting there with a pencil in your hand or, reading something or writing something down or reviewing questions that you got wrong. Every single moment that you're doing that or that you're distracted equates to the reason why you won't get into law school, the reason why you won't get the score you want. And that's very debilitating, to have that voice in your head. And so, again, I've been there. I know what it's like. But I promise you, there is light at the end of the tunnel. And whatever you do, do not let that voice win. And by any means, block it out. Like I said, go get glasses if you need. I started getting like frequent headaches. So I had to get glasses because I didn't realize that I was basically deteriorating my eyes. Go find a therapist. I say that unapologetically because that's been one of the best things that's made a difference in my life for the last few years. Talk to somebody. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to do it alone. I think sometimes grind culture makes us feel like we gotta sort of endure this in silence. You know what I mean? And I don't think you have to, nor should you. It's not healthy. So grind, of course, like put the work in, but putting the work in does not mean you should do so at your own peril. You know what I mean? Like, because then there's nothing else left for you. You can't pour from empty glasses, you always say. So if you work yourself empty, you know what I mean? Like, you're still trying to, move forward, it's going to be hard. Like, you're literally kind of setting yourself up to, not failure, of course, you're setting yourself up to be limited in what you can do, right? Like, if you're tired and mentally exhausted, it is very hard to actually be productive. So give yourself that break. Don't let the guilty voice tell you that, taking a nap or going home or calling it quits or calling it early for a day means that was you walking away from law school, walk away from the score you needed. I hope that makes sense.
Oh, it does. I mean, the thing that's amazing about what you said, Paris, it's like you begin this journey, and especially I think the LSAT is the big smack in the face we all need, is it's going to tell you, like you said, did I really study or did I not? Did I go through the motions or did I not? And the test is going to change you. And it's going to change you because also, if the LSAT doesn't change you, the bar is going to change you. So because of the work that you did to go, and it also tests you to see, do you really want this? Because ain't nothing about this journey convenient.
Not at
Ain't
all.
nothing about this gonna feel good. But it's like, do you want this? Are you willing to be uncomfortable Sunday? Are you willing to be able to do this, Barrett? And this whole process is saying, are you willing to look at your face and say, look at yourself in the mirror and say, I could do better?
Absolutely.
Because boy, we can keep it a buck, y'all. We all here, right? We could BS the heck out of ourselves. Yeah, we could BS everybody else. Then also, well, how'd that score go? I
Yeah.
thought you were studying. I thought you were. The thing that's amazing though is that willpower that you build and that strength that you build through the LSAT. It serves as a foundation and helps you for your 1L year.
Absolutely.
So people think that because of the struggle, Sunday, or they think because of the struggle, Jade, that there must be a sign from God that I can't do it, that maybe I should go do something else because that over there is easier, and, I ain't got to do all that. God's I just need to listen because God's telling me I took the LSAT 3 times, and that means I need to quit. I need to do something else. And so I want you to, how did that strength from, because be honest, I tell you, the LSAT going to throw you in the mud, and it's going to be like, now get up. You want this? Get up. And taking the bus, humbling you, having to go back, and then the reality of you go on your Instagram. I was talking to someone else about this earlier. You go on your Instagram, you go on your Facebook, you see your brothers, you see your sisters. It's not jealousy, but you see them in law school. You see them in med school, and you sitting here with the damn book that you had 2 years ago, and you're sitting here like,
Yeah.
And so how did that strength of weathering that storm help you in your 1L year? Because I think people need to understand you got to get that strength because 1L year, for those who ain't in that 1L year, it's a monster. The LSAT is training you for your 1L year.
Oh man, I'm laughing because I feel like this story only gets better to get worse because,
Right.
like I mentioned, I took my LSAT in the middle of the pandemic, like when it had just stopped. We were on complete lockdown, which worked out because a section got taken off and I got the best score I ever gotten and enough to get a full ride. And then I had to realize, wait, I'm about to start law school in the middle of a global pandemic. Like the hardest part of law school, the hardest year of law school, I am about to embark on virtually, where I don't have. And me personally, I'm very much I prefer being in person. Like I feel more present when I'm in a space as opposed to just sitting behind a screen. And so that was rough because again, I was working full time, which meant I was logging on to work every day from 9 a.m. and staying on until 5. And just a little background, my first job out of college that I was working before law school was at a political consulting firm where we primarily did fundraising for candidates in Maryland, but across the nation, honestly. But our base was in Maryland, of course. So I say that to say nothing about my job gave me time to read for class during the day. Like I was either on calls or doing research for clients to make sure that they would, have the context they need to raise money for their campaign, or I was basically with them on calls that they were making for their campaigns to raise money. So that means when 5 o'clock rolled around, I had finished all the reading I needed for 1 year over the weekend. And the most I could do at that point was review some notes. And going back to the LSAT journey, that's how I prepare me is, all those days of having to leave work and go directly, get on the bus and go directly to the library, prepared me for the days where I had to log off of, work Zoom and get on to class Zoom, which was honestly miserable. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. But, at that point I had the tolerance for it.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I used to joke and laugh all the time. I used to say the LSAT was work. Like if you ask any of my friends and classmates from like my LSAT prep courses, they would tell you I was giving like the LSAT the business in terms of like complaining.
Oh yeah.
And in hindsight, I look back at it like, as much as I hated it, I have to admit it did prepare me for 1 year in ways I would have never imagined because I was just over it.
I mean, and the thing about it, I'll tell you guys, Nikita, check this out. I mean, it ain't pretty, but it's worth it. And it's just all about literally teaching you. Because one of the things that's amazing about it, and I'm sure Paris can attest to it, you guys, is this whole process, although you're learning the law, what
Yeah,
you're
Zoom
really
fatigue.
learning is yourself. You're
Yeah,
learning
that's
how,
deep.
do you know how to read the right way? You may think you do, but no, you probably don't. Do you know how to study the right way? You may think you do. We got great grades in LSATs. I mean, got great J's in GPA, but we had to change it in order to get our LSATs right.
Yeah.
And I tell you guys these stories, and I add Paris on because our whole goal is to be able to normalize the struggle. So if I'm normalizing the struggle, you go, hold on, Paris doing this and this, and he there and he there, and he struggled like this too. And it's like, oh, okay, so
Yeah.
I'm just going through my process. I'm just going through
Yeah.
my growth season, and I'm going to be where that is too if I keep going. And so
Could
the
I,
thing that's
should I add on a
amazing.
little bit too, Anthony?
Go ahead.
I was gonna also, I forgot to mention too, that I just light bulb went off as you started talking, is some of the skills you learned from the LSAT that prepare you for 1 year two is, being an active reader. Of course, when you're reading for the LSAT and you're going through like the reading comp and argument section, you gotta pay attention to certain words, certain clue words, and the question stem and things like that. And although, again, there's a big argument for like the LSAT technically does not prepare you for law school because it's not substantive law that's on the LSAT.
Right.
It definitely prepares you to learn how to be an active reader and pick up skills to pay attention, basically. Because else, because 1 year is the same way. Like doing case briefs, reading cases is very much active reading. Like you gotta pay attention to certain words, look for certain things, so that way you can prepare decent briefs and be prepared for class and not embarrass yourself when you get cold call. So again, as much as I hated it, I have to be honest and say some of those skills definitely prepared me for 1 year in more ways than one.
And the thing also to just piggyback on this, think about this, right? So Paris took the LSAT 4 times. I took the LSAT 7 times. And it's not, you guys, I want you guys to understand, it's not that Paris was smarter the 4th time he took it than he was the first time he took it. No, what happened was Paris learned more about himself or what he needed to do. And so a lot of times you guys are beating ourselves up, man, I can't do this. And I almost want to do a reel. You seen that real, Paris, where that guy is hitting the screen like, stop, tell you this.
Oh,
I
yeah.
want to do stop attaching your value to these LSAT scores because you're so much more valuable than that. And my man Paris got into the law school without the LSAT score race. Think about that, you guys. And so it's all about you learning and accepting and finding schools that will accept you and also being able to accept and learn about myself, learn about yourself, getting tested, learning. I mean, for example, our white brothers and sisters, we love you guys to death. You guys go get tested, and it's okay. Oftentimes, the stigma's attached to us, and we don't want to go do that. But that's how we learn about ourselves. That's how we're able to find out what works best. And so I want to thank you, Paris, for joining us. You guys, make sure you follow MA Bossa Strong on Instagram because, listen, man, we now have another brother that's in the community for you guys to reach out to. You need to follow the page, find out about different resources because, again, we want to see you in law school. My man is stretching out his time, not just making sure that he's doing things to be successful for his own self in law school, but also making sure and bridging a way so you guys can be successful too. So, Paris, thank you so much for joining us tonight. To my future lawyers out there, normalize your struggle. Realize the struggle don't last always. The only way to guarantee anything is to quit, and we're not quitting out here in these streets, y'all. So, again, thank you, Paris, for joining us. And to all my future lawyers out there, keep fighting for your lawyer dreams. We're here to help you along the way. You ain't alone, fam. You got a whole entire tribe that's here to help you guys manifest. You guys take care. God bless, and keep fighting.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it. And good luck to everybody. Hit me up on IG. Drop the email from a Bossa pre-law in the chat. However you need to reach me, I'm on all platforms, and I will do my. I'm gonna reply. I'm gonna help you guys out the best I can.
He gave the invite. Now go ahead and holler at them. Peace and blessings, you guys. Have a good day, and make sure you guys sign up for our Stylist Study Hall. We're going to have a great series coming back with our girl Michelle. And if you need help, hit up my man right here. And if you're struggling with your essays, I'm always a DM away. So peace and blessings.